Hi guys, my name's Jason and this is my abandoned school, and today we're going to be talking about how I accidentally came about buying this school. So I've been reading the comments.
Whoops, that last one wasn't supposed to be there.
And everyone seems to be interested in the numbers and the figures. Well, today I'm going to break down how I accidentally bought this school. So I've been looking at properties for about 8 months and looking at houses almost every single day. Every single weekend, we'd go out and look at a house. I told my realtor I needed a place to park a bunch of cars and a quiet place to do my own bidding, generally working on cars or being a buffoon in general.
Here's me over the years working on some terrible vehicles. I still own some of these. It's a true love-hate relationship here, but I try to have fun.
And a place where my two dogs can run around. Here they are.
This is Turboski and this is Bustina. They're two very good doggos, and they love to have fun and play around. You can see them having lots of fun here.
I really wanted a garage and was willing to trade living space to have that garage. So my deal was a 12-car garage, one bedroom house.
And here are some dream house candidates here, especially this one.
So you may ask yourself how I ended up buying the exact opposite of what I was looking for. Well, after months of looking at places that were hours away from me and not convenient to live at all, so very far from grocery stores, gas stations, any sort of amenities you'd want to be able to live in society, I saw this listing on Zillow. I was curious though, and I really didn't think too much of it, but I was like, hey, it's close to where I currently live and has a lot of land and space, so why don't we go check it out? I told my realtor, and she was like, this place probably isn't for you. It needs a lot of work, it has creepy small toilets, and it's been on the market for almost a year. They started asking 2.5 million, then they had to divide the property into two plots, and then they dropped the price to 1.5 million, and now they've dropped it all the way down to 700K from that. So I thought to myself, number one, this seems like a great opportunity to buy something at the bottom of the peak, or valley, I should say, and needs a lot of work. That sounds like a challenge to me. And you know what I like? I like challenges. Let's go see it. So I went to see the building, and just like all my other rust bucket car projects, I immediately started daydreaming of what the possibilities were. I thought to myself, what are the most important things? Location. You can't change that. Plus, a ton of land so close to all these amenities must be hard to come by. So after that, I went home and I thought to myself, don't get attached. Don't get attached. But let's make an offer. So I thought to myself, what lowball offer should I throw them? I talked to the listing agent and my realtor, and I was like, hey, what if I just told them 400K? And she was like, no way. They've gotten so many offers, way more than that. And I was like, you know what? I like it, but I'm not willing to pay more than 500. So take it or leave it. She said, are you sure? Because this place is going to take you probably over $1 million to get fixed. And I just thought to myself, challenge accepted. So to give you a little bit of background about me, I'm not 100% shooting in the dark. So about 10 years ago, I did actually have a small contracting company where we did a lot of work ourselves. So I still know a lot of people that run those crowds. And I know of any quote, generally 70% is mostly labor, taxes, profit, and materials are comparatively low. And since this is a large house, I could probably get a wholesale discount on a lot of the parts I buy. So I was thinking to myself, I should be able to do my own labor or hire some of my friends and come out on top of this deal. From there on, it was an uphill battle too, since the property needed a lot of work. And like most people, I just didn't have a cool 500K laying around somewhere. So I had to get financing, which I thought would have been easy peasy since I have a good credit score and a good debt to income ratio. But banks didn't want to give me a loan. Most of them didn't want to touch it. It was technically a commercial building, and they wanted to give me a much higher interest rate. Me telling them it's 2024 and this building identified as residential didn't exactly help. None of them were willing to give me a loan at market rate. They all wanted 7-8% interest because they said it was considered commercial building. However, the borough had already rezoned it residential, so I couldn't do anything about that. The borough didn't want another commercial company moving in because it was situated in a residential area. And As a commercial building, you would normally be able to get more revenue from it by having a business rent there, but since it was zoned residential, I wasn't allowed to do that. I didn't mind paying extra 2% on interest if I was able to make more money off of it, but obviously I wasn't. It was primarily zoned as a single family residential house. So despite having a 810 credit score and an 840 FICO score, I couldn't get a loan. Even my insurance agent couldn't get me a quote, and his underwriter said I had the best income to debt ratio he has ever seen. So finally, after a week of pulling my hair out and heartache, we finally found a bank that'd secure a loan for us. But we thought it was all rainbows and sunshine, but the last minute they decided they want an extra $3K to secure the loan and added another $50,000 in taxes 2 days before closing. I thought to myself, this had to be wrong. I mean, the $3K I can take, but $50K in 2 days? And they told me this on a Friday. So I couldn't even get the money if I had the money, which I didn't. So I had to scramble around, calling the county assessors, the local boroughs, and the title company to clear up what all these fees were about. Eventually, they were able to remove the $50K and were able to finally close. And I was able to take a breath finally. But that's when I saw the property again, which had looked much worse than when I first saw it. I took the property as is, so I couldn't say anything about that. But even though it was in worse condition, I still think I came out on top. I had to assume the worst when I made my first offer, so I already kind of accounted for all those problems being there. So now, for you numbers people. From an investment point of view, the purchase price was $500,000 at a 6.8% interest rate on a 30-year fixed loan. The assessment for the property as is was approximately $1.2 million. The taxes are really high right now because of that assessment. They're around $47,000 a year. However, because it's being converted from a nonprofit entity to a residential entity, the taxes will drop and the house will get reassessed. And I'm hoping they'll reassess it based off of my purchase price. And that should drop the taxes to about $16,000 a year. So most places, when I tried to get insurance for this place, was around $4 to $6 million for full coverage insurance, full replacement value. But they had insane premiums. The premiums range for $3,500 all the way up to $16,000 a year. And I thought that was crazy. The house is mostly made out of block, so the likelihood of it burning down is real low. So I wanted to go with something that was a little more in my budget. So I ended up going with my car insurance company, which is the craziest thing to think about because I've never even considered them in the beginning. But they insure a bunch of my rust buckets and they helped me get a lower rate because of multi-policy, and I had a decade-long relationship with them already, so they knew I was a safe bet. So the total insurance ended up being $1.77 million for replacement and $356K loss of use with a 0.5% deductible. So in the event the house burns straight to the ground, they'll cut me a check for $1.77 million to rebuild the house, and they'll give me an allowance of $356K to live somewhere and rent somewhere while the house is being rebuilt. So I laughed and I thought, so can I just use this $356K and buy another house? So the insurance agent laughed and then he just hung up. So I don't actually know. So maybe not, but we'll see. So to recap, just by purchasing the property, I've acquired almost $800,000 in equity. So in theory, I could take a home equity loan out against the equity of my house, so 80% of what that equity is. So I could technically borrow another $640,000 against the house at a 6.8% interest rate. See, that wouldn't make sense for me unless like you were a flipper, right? You didn't want any money down. You bought it, you got it reassessed higher, and then you took a cash out refi, and then you basically, rented it or sold it, and then the rest was profit. I plan on living in this house, so that doesn't make sense. If I did that, the yearly interest I'd be paying would be $70,000 a year, which is ludicrous. That's like someone's full salary. So my plan really is to challenge the status quo and hopefully empower some people like you to kind of like challenge and do some of these crazy ambitious projects, and hopefully you'll come out on top. So far, the quotes for repairs are ludicrous. We got a quote from Andersen Windows for $470,000 to replace the windows. The roof was $300,000. The gutters, craziest thing ever. Box gutter replacement, 30 linear feet, $70,000. The house has almost 300 linear feet of box gutters, so that would be around $700,000. I also did get scammed by an electrician, but that's a different story. But he said it needed $20,000 in electrical work. The boiler, the plumbing are completely unknown, and I'm assuming they're not good. So that's something we'll have to deal with later. But they're not going to be cheap either. The main steam boiler is actually the size of a smart car. It is massive. And that's like the craziest part is that's not getting into the actual meat and potatoes of the renovation and updating. This is just like fixing deferred maintenance. So it's going to be an uphill battle for sure. So financially, this project seems like a massive wash. However, there are a few positives. The neighborhood is actually really nice. My neighbor's house is valued at $980,000. It has a third of the land and a quarter of the actual square footage. So worst comes to worst, if I sell it for the same price as my neighbor's house, which is much smaller than mine, I think I'll still come out on top. Granted, renovations don't cost me another $500,000. If the interest rates drop, I'm pretty sure the ability to refinance will be very positive for me, and also sales prices will climb, as we've seen during COVID and all these other times. I do have experience doing construction work and contracting, so a lot of the repairs I should be able to do myself, beating all the estimates out. If I can't do the work, I do have a lot of friends in different trades that could help me and probably do the work at a discount. I think long-term, the property does have a lot of promise. I did have countless nights of where I just thought to myself, if I pass this up, what are the chances of me ever getting an opportunity to own something this close to everything with this much land ever again? And the chances are this kind of property coming on the market again, I'm probably going to be in an urn somewhere or in the ground. So my plans are to live here. So I know a lot of you asked, where's the location? Where is it? I really don't want to disclose too much about that information just yet because I don't want 20 random people, those specific 20 random people that dislike my videos, to show up, find me, poop on my lawn, or do worse. So I hope you all understand. So Monday we'll be resuming our normal content. We'll finally be doing work on the house. And hopefully you have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Bye.